Hello, fellow fragrance lovers and enthusiasts. Welcome back. It's Benjamin here at the Seductive Fragrance Channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Habdan from the house of Parfums De Marley. This is an amazing creation. Let me tell you all about it. First off, we got notes like saffron, labdanum, amber, rose, even some ambergris and caramel. First off, you get the saffron in the top. It's a beautiful saffron. To me, it's not as bright as saffron can be. It's a little bit more in between, kind of the saffron wanting to become leatherish and wanting to be kind of floral. It's kind of in between. Saffron can be a little bit more floral, a little bit more aldehydic almost, and saffron also can want to be more of a leathery kind of note, a little bit more of a mid note, and have a little bit more of a distinct richness to it. To me, this saffron's somewhere in between. With that beautiful caramel, don't get confused that thinking that this is more of a gourmand fragrance. Some people out there might consider it a semi-gourmand, but this is not a gourmand fragrance. To me, the caramel is not overly rich. It's not buttery like I expect caramel to be. It just has a little bit of this almost like thick, brown sugar kind of quality that comes through, rounds out the fragrance, adds a really nice sweetness. That's kind of a little bit more in the background, and the sweetness really doesn't have a lot of that sugary kind of quality to me. It's much more subdued, laid back in the background, kind of like Noir Extreme in Tom Ford. It has a similar feel to that if you're familiar with that fragrance. Anyways, the labdanum, to me, labdanum usually has a little bit more of a sour milk kind of incense quality. It's not unpleasant. That's the kind of characteristic I would describe to labdanum. And it's a very interesting kind of quality added to this fragrance. Labdanum, it often is a great pairing and often mixed with amber. When I first smelled this fragrance, I really detected the saffron, the caramel, and probably the amber as the biggest notes in the fragrance. The labdanum and the amber are both more of incensey type of notes and really play well with each other. The amber is more in the background, of course, and it smells very, very nice. One of the notes I wasn't able to detect at first was the ambergris. I detected that there was some musk, maybe a little bit of saltiness, something really rounding out the fragrance, and I also detected that I really liked it. I love fragrances that are well-rounded and full-bodied with musk. Musk can really make a fragrance have a little bit more of a full body, be more like almost make it into a full circle and round out rough out the jagged edges of a fragrance. And I didn't really detect that there was ambergris in it first, and once I saw the notes, I said, yes, that's what's happening. Beautiful labdanum, that's a little bit more of that airy incense. The amber, that's a little bit more of the subdued base note, the rich kind of incense. And then you have the beautiful ambergris adding some saltiness. Now, to me, this ambergris is a little bit more of a gray ambergris. There is white ambergris, gray ambergris, and black. The rarest and the most expensive is the white. And to me, this is the gray. It's not exactly black, being, more earthy, more animalic and more pungent. This is kind of in between, but I do think that the ambergris here does have a little bit of darkness to it, and that's very nice. I really like this kind of combination. This labdanum, amber, and ambergris, labdanum, and amber has a beautiful combination, and to me, that's mostly what I smell in the dry down. The saffron quickly goes away from the fragrance, but still, added a little bit of a leathery touch. It did give you a really nice introduction that's very classy. It gives the fragrance a little bit more classiness and uplifts the fragrance a little bit to this otherwise fragrance that'd be a little bit maybe stale, a scent that might not have enough character to it. It might not be dynamic enough. All the fragrances have a similar tone and a similar feel. I kind of would like the saffron to be even stronger. I'm a big supporter of saffron. One of the notes I haven't mentioned yet is the rose. The rose is here. It's more in the background. You can notice it, but the rose is not overbearing in this fragrance. The rose plays nice in this fragrance. It doesn't overpower the composition like in so many fragrances rose does. So in summary, this is a beautiful, more amber-focused fragrance. If you're familiar with things like Prada Black, that was released fairly recently. This is a much more niche version. It's much more upscale, and I personally do believe that maybe Prada went to the drawing rooms and the drawing board, or maybe they used just happen chance made something smell somewhat similar to this beautiful creation here. I don't know if it was intentional, but I do think Prada Black was inspired by this fragrance, and I think that this is the much better fragrance. It's beautiful. It's very well rounded, and if you have a hard time with amber as a note and a fragrance, this is a very good fragrance. And also, if you do like that very almost like rich, sweet, seductive patchouli vibe that fragrances can dry down to. If you like things like Noir Extreme by Tom Ford, I think that you will absolutely love this fragrance. It's a big charmer. It's one of my favorites out of the bunch. It's one of my favorite Parfum de Marley fragrances. Now, performance-wise, this fragrance isn't the biggest projector. This one actually has one of the weakest projections out of any Parfums de Marley fragrance. But again, this has more base notes than anything. It didn't have much of a top to begin with, and then it quickly went to the mid and quickly to the dry down. So overall, you're actually going to get great longevity out of this one. You're going to get 8, maybe 9 hours longevity, but it is going to be closer to the skin overall. It's not going to project a lot, but it is going to have a fair amount of sillage. Now, I think that's a wonderful thing, and I like when my fragrances are a little bit more on the seductive side, a little bit more on the charming side. I don't like fragrances that fill up a room or shout or punch people in the face when I walk into a room. I like to be more on the charming, seductive side of things, and this is certainly one of those fragrances. It smells classy and upscale, and it certainly has the right vibe to match. So this can certainly be worn with a suit, upscale occasions, very classy, and it's a great fragrance. This is a fragrance that really grew on me. At first, I didn't give it much of a chance. I tried it a little bit, a while ago on my fragrance journey, about a year ago, and I didn't give it much of a chance or much of a thought. I didn't really put it on my skin and give it much of a thought at all. And I've come back to it. My nose has developed a little bit more, and I think I can give this one a fair review. Trust me, I don't rush usually to get reviews out. I usually take my time, and this one has been like over a year in the making. So, wonderful creation, and I'm so happy that I came back and gave this one a second chance. Anyways, this fragrance just has good performance overall. Even though it's not a big projector, I think that this has overall pretty darn good, longevity overall. Anyways, compliment factor wise, this is what I want out of a fragrance. I get positive looks. People like it. People look at me. The ladies start, twinkling their eyes and get acting kind of funny around me when I'm wearing a fragrance like this. It's a charmer. It smells great, and it certainly does have a very nice quality about it. Also, amber fragrances, amber-focused fragrances aren't that common as far as I can tell. There's not a lot of fragrances in the market that are focused on amber, that have this kind of quality, that have this kind of vibe. So it smells very unique, but this fragrance isn't overtly daring. I do think that this fragrance is a little bit more on the mature side, but not overtly so. I think that, somebody 25 plus could easily get away with this. If somebody's more mature, maybe a little bit younger than 25, but I think that the younger crowd will think this is a little bit too mature and a little bit too dark. But it's not mature in the sense that it smells mature. It just has a very classy, refined, laid back kind of feel about it. It doesn't smell vintage. It doesn't have a old school blend or an old school quality about it. It just has a very upscale kind of vibe about, in my opinion, about this fragrance. It's very special in that kind of way. So, wonderful creation. I think it's very nice, and I think that you'd be impressed with it if you like ambers and those kinds of things. So, compliment factor wise, it's all there. It's all that I want in a fragrance. So I'm rating this pretty highly. From Parfums de Marley, I like Latent Exclusive. I kind of liked Godolphin, but I kind of grew out of it. A Carlisle's a pretty darn good fragrance, and this is probably one of my favorites. I'm not sure if this one or, Latent Exclusive is my favorite out of the bunch. This might be my favorite in a couple months. This might be my favorite Parfums de Marley. I wouldn't put it behind it. This is a very strong contender from the line. It's just not talked about very much. A lot of the other ones are more sweet, a little bit more of what you would expect, a little bit more gourmand, and this one is a little bit more incensey, a little bit more resinous, and definitely more on the ambergris side of things. So, but give it a serious chance. This is beautiful juice. My only complaint with this fragrance, just like most of the Parfums de Marley fragrances, is that they're, I think, kind of highly priced for what they are. I think that they have good compositions for the most part. They smell pretty good for the most part, but I don't know if the quality, the price is really justified. I don't know how much of the ambergris in here is natural, but to me, the ambergris does smell natural in this fragrance. It comes off as pretty natural, and it smells pretty darn good. And I do wish that the fragrance was even stronger in concentration. I do wish that it projected a little bit more, and I do wish that the saffron was more pronounced in the opening. And I think there might be a little bit of apple maybe put in here. Maybe a little bit of green apple would be fun in this fragrance in the top to give it a little bit more of an opening. But overall, it's a beautiful fragrance, and I think that this is one of the best from the line. If I do ever buy one, it'll probably be this one. I'm not sure about late and exclusive. I've kind of been growing out of love with this one, and this one's kind of been growing in love. Anyways, this is a wonderful creation from the brand and the house. I heavily recommend it. If you haven't given this one of a chance out of the Parfums de Marley's, if you love Parfums de Marley fragrances, if this sounded interesting to you, I do think that you should check this one out. Again, I do think that Prada Black, Prada Luna Rosa Black, was inspired by this fragrance, and they took inspiration and from this fragrance to create their fragrance. So that's my thought. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you have similar feelings about this fragrance? Do you have similar thoughts? Have you tried this fragrance? What do you think about this fragrance? Some people have simply labeled it as smelling old, and I don't think so at all. This does not smell vintage. This does not smell old school, or it doesn't even have a retro vibe. It's not even in between. To me, this is very much a modern fragrance and smells very modern, but it is a little bit more mature and it's a little bit more classy. So take this as you will. This is certainly a fragrance that's recommended here at the Centaur Fragrance channel. Check this one out. It's a great fragrance, but again, it's not going to be for everybody out there. Anyways, my friends, I'll see you next time. Wear what you love, rock what you got. Have a fantastic one. If you did like my video today, if you do like my channel, please help me out. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share the video, tell a friend. And when you do hit that notification bell, please hit all notifications. Anyways, I'll see you next time, my friends. I wish you the very best, and I'll see you next time, my friends, of course. Anyways, have a good one, and bye.